Characters are essential in a story. That is why it is imperative that you spend a good amount of time developing them. Each should have distinct characteristics that makes them memorable. Before designing your character, you have to know them inside out. Ask yourself the right questions. Start with the basics, such as figuring out the character's name, age, location, hobby, fears, and special qualities before you begin. Hi, my name is Jessica, and today I'll be creating a simple character named Kim, who's 7 years old. She's a regular girl who lives in the city and goes to her local elementary school. The tutorial will be a step-by-step that beginners and even more advanced users can follow. If you're new to Anime Studio, I would advise you to start by doing all the basic tutorials first to get accustomed to the tools. You can find it in the Help window in Anime Studio. After deciding on my character, I quickly sketched out a design in blue, and then I inked it in black so I could easily see it in Anime Studio once I imported it. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to do is open a new file in Anime Studio, and then you save it as whatever you want. And I would advise you to create a folder because it makes it so much easier to keep track of all the things that you're going to be using in your project. After you're done with that, create a new folder and name it Kim if you're going to do this tutorial exactly as I am. And then create new layers such as the head, then the body, and everything else. Just follow this video to see what kind of order I put the things in. This is what you should have in the end. Now that the layers are all set up, you can now import the sketch of Kim. I'll be sure to include the files below, so you can also follow along as I am. You can either import the sketch as a JPEG file or the Photoshop version. I decided to go with the Photoshop version because I included the cleanup version and the rough outline. So I have the flexibility of using both. Adjust the files as you need on the screen. I decided to scale it and move it to make it all centered. After that, I created a new style and I called it skin. And using styles is really convenient because when you have multiple layers with the same color, you can uniformly change it at once instead of doing it individually. You can either create your own skin color, like I tried to, but it didn't really work out, or like I later did, I looked at the palette and chose a skin color that I liked, and then I created a gradient of it and chose a darker color. Then what you should do is create a circle and then add points to it to fit with the sketch and adjust it with a translate tool. The Vector Shape Selector tool is a great tool to go back and forth between layers, and it saves a lot of time too, especially when you have a lot of layers. Okay, so the next thing I did is click on the body layer and I made the neck shape, and then I decided to change the color of the outline to match the skin. You can choose any kind of outline you like. And most of my drawings actually don't like to include the outline, but I'm going to be exploring some things that will be needing the outline. After putting the basic points to get the shape of the neck, it's good to move some points around to make sure that the face is symmetrical when you flip it. Now would be a good time to use a curvature tool to create sharper angles in some areas such as the bottom of the neck, and also the line width tool to create some variety in line width. I flipped the head horizontally to make sure that it looks symmetrical, and then I adjusted some points and rotated it. Then you should create a style for her shirt. I decided to go with a red color, and then I created a gradient. After, I adjusted the neck to create more skin. Adjusted the angle with the curvature tool. Then you should use the square tool, create a shape tool and pick square. Make a square to cover the shirt, and then adjust the points. And then use the add point tool to add some extra points to create sleeves in her shirt. And also points in between. If you turn off the visibility for the layer, you can see the drawing underneath. You should render from time to time, Control R, to see how your progress is going. It is also good to save often. Make sure to click the orbit tool as you go along and place the cursor where I put it for transforming purposes. Click on Draw Shape tool and select Oval. Put the oval next to the torso, rotate it, adjust the points, and add some extra points in between. After you're done with that, you should create a semi-ellipse on the bottom of the arm. I will explain later on why this is important. Click on Select Shape tool and make the gradient, extend the gradient line so that it's not too much of a change between colors. You should copy the arm and paste it into the forearm layer. Flip it, rotate it, adjust it. Make sure that the top portion is a semicircle as well. And next to the arm, overlapping the arm, it should form a circle shape or something close to a circle. Create a new layer in the right hand switch layer and draw a hand however you want. You can use the create shape tool, or you can use the add points tool, or even the freehand tool. I chose to use the create shape tool, and I added some points to make a hand. Create a new style and name it pants. I decided to go for a yellow color, and then I created a gradient. Then click the create a shape tool, click rectangle, create a shape over the legs. I decided to look at my character Abigail for reference to see how I did the legs, since the shorts are pretty similar. I changed the order and I put the torso on top of the legs. I created some points. Having enough points is really important when you're going to be rigging, so make sure you have enough points. And don't forget to use the curvature tool to change the angle of the points. I selected the bottom portion of the shorts. I copied and pasted it into the calve layer. I created a shape, and then I started making a semicircle shape on top of the calve layer and a semicircle shape on the bottom of the leg layer. Again, I'll explain it later why I am doing this. After adjusting the points, you should create a patch layer and click on the right leg, and make sure that the patch layer covers both right leg and the right calf. I haven't created a patch layer yet, but I will, as you will see in a moment. Make sure when you adjust the points, the two semicircles look like a circle when they overlap. Adjust the points to make sure to make the shorts look straight and not curvy on the sides. After you're done with the shorts, create the calve and bring it under the shorts. Add some points, translate them to fit the sketch. You can also change to the other sketch, the one with the clear outline. After you're done with the calf, create the foot. The foot layer will have the foot itself and the shoes as well. You don't really have to have the foot layer and the switch layer, but if you like to use switches to switch between legs and feet, then that would be convenient to already have it set up. When I first started drawing the foot, it looked a little strange, but it's okay. Sometimes when you draw, it'll look strange at first, but you just gotta keep working until it looks the way you want it to be. I decided to give her socks, as I did in the original sketch. You can render at any time, and make sure to save as well. Add a patch layer after you're done creating the foot. And select the right calve. Create a new style for the socks if you would like her to have socks like I do. Add gradient and change the line color. Also, the default width is 4, but it's a little too big for my liking, so I like to use 2 instead. There are 2 ribbons or ties that are on top of the shirt that needed to be added, and I think it's best to put them in 2 separate layers, because later on when I'll be doing a body turn tutorial, it will make it much easier to handle. Both will be right under the torso. The torso also needs to be a little adjusted. After that's done, you can create the undershirt that I forgot to put earlier on, and I decided to just use the color of the socks since they're both white instead of creating a new style. And it's in the same layer as the torso, it's just a different shape right underneath the shirt. Then I created the buttons in a new layer, and also the same color as the socks. The last thing that you need to do is to create the pelvis. Just use the create a shape tool and click on oval and add some points, adjust them, and there you have it. Create a new style for the hair. I chose brown for the color. And I stick with a dark outline because the hair is already dark. It's now time to copy everything from one side to the other. Start with the arms and the forearms, the hands, the leg, the thigh, and then the foot. You might want to use keyboard shortcuts for this. Control A to select all, Control C to copy, Control V to paste. The translate points tool shortcut is T. After you're done copying and pasting, patch the layers so that the lines are no longer visible where they intersect. I noticed that I didn't accurately draw the sketch and that the thigh would be a bit too far from the other, so I decided to scale it. And since I scaled the thigh, I had to do the same for the calve. If you had to do this, then you might also have to adjust some points as I did. Remember, it has to look like a circle when it overlaps, when the leg and the calf overlap. It has to look like a circle, which is what I was trying to do. It didn't quite look like a circle, kind of looked a little flat, but it's okay because I might adjust it later. But try to get as close to a circle as possible. It will make it much easier later on. Make a new patch layer and link it with the pelvis and put it right between the legs so that the lines disappear.